Welcome to A Chat with Heart podcast. I'm your host, Christina Martin. I'm here to guide us on this journey of heartfelt and uncensored conversations with friends I've met while touring my music in Europe and across North America, and people who have life experience that I genuinely believe we can all learn from. Our personal stories have great power to heal, influence, and inspire. All we have to do is show up for the conversation. If we just talk about it, we could shine a light, we could break a dark day. If we just talk about it, we can cut away, we can make a brighter day. Oh my gosh, I just downed 2 pounds of nachos. And so this intro should sound very sedated. This is the second to last episode of Season 1, A Chat with Heart podcast. So after our season finale with Nancy Regan, that's coming up next, I'm going to take a bit of a break to focus on my new album plans, because that takes me forever, play some shows, and plan for Season 2. Any suggestions you have for Season 2? Comments you want to leave from Season 1? Call my Heartbeat Hotline. If you're not in Canada with a long-distance plan, fees will apply, but you can always call 1-902-669-4769. Leave a prank message, a serious message, whatever you want. They pay for the line to be opened, so I hope you'll use it. And thanks for the messages that have come in so far. I'm actually going to take a moment right now to read some lovely reviews that came in for this podcast. You can do that, you can subscribe to the podcast, rate and review, and your review may be read on a future episode. I pulled these from Apple Music. This one's from JSH in Canada. 5-star rating. Lovely way to start my day. I just listened to your podcast, which featured Jason Haywood, someone who is near and dear to my heart. It was so nice to hear the relaxed and genuine conversation between you and Jason, especially since we live far apart and cannot visit as much as we'd like due to the ongoing pandemic. I just subscribed to your podcast. Thank you so much. Jason, you've got a lovely admirer, and I appreciate that JSH in Canada, you have subscribed, and I hope you continue to enjoy this podcast. Thanks for the lovely 5-star rating. This next review is from Rosie. Love these authentic conversations. 5 stars. I'm a huge fan of podcasts as I commute to work, and they are a lifesaver. I love Christina's new podcast, Chat with Heart. The interviews are really authentic and interesting. Christina has a beautiful, soothing voice, and I would love to hear you sing on a future podcast. Well, thank you, Rosie. I didn't think anybody would really want to hear me sing. Or I thought maybe like the theme song was enough of me singing and that the rest could be just chats. But you never know. I'm going to keep that in mind for Season 2. Maybe there'll be a song, acoustic song in there. Thank you. All right, keep the reviews coming, and thank you, everybody listening. Just because I'm taking a break doesn't mean more listeners can't find these episodes. If you like the podcast, tell 5 friends. And that's still the coolest way to get the word out about anything. My guest today is Haley Gillen, one of my oldest friends. She was like the strongest kid I had ever met. I want to provide a bit of background context so that when you're listening, you are familiar with a bit of my family situation, especially if you're a first-time listener to the podcast. So I love that Haley knew me at a time when all of my immediate family lived together under the same roof. So this would have been up until I turned around 11 or 12 years old. So it was like my mom and my dad, my 2 brothers, Alexander and Stefan, and I. The 5 of us had moved in the late 80s from Fredericton, New Brunswick, in Atlantic Canada, to a smaller town in New Brunswick called Rothsay, so just outside of a city called St. John. So we lived in this house in Rothsay for about 2.5 years. And then one night, my father packed up and left. He left us. I later found out that he apparently had been committing bank fraud, and he was no doubt experiencing mental health issues and making very poor decisions at that time. And he left us, and he asked my mother not to tell anyone where he was going. So my mother, who had no job at the time, had to sell the house and took next to nothing for the house. She did, I believe, pay off the debt that was in both my parents' names, and then we had to move. And my mom had to go back to school and work nights and study during the daytime for a while to get us through some really hard years. But my mom made sure that we always had, good food, a home. She got us back on our feet. And my dad remained in a sort of secret existence in Quebec, where he remained until his eventual death from cancer in 1999. So there was a lot of weirdness growing up when it came to where my dad was, who he was, what did he do. And I'm sure I talked to my close friends about it when I was young, a teenager. I'm sure I told them eventually, but for a long time, we weren't allowed to tell anyone where our father was. So this pivotal experience for my family happened when we were living in Rothsay, which is where I met Haley, my guest today. And Haley and I remained friends after my family had moved to another town. So we talk about that a little bit in this episode. Haley is just a super lovely human, and I can't wait for you to meet her. So I'll shut up with this intro and skip to the best part. Thanks for listening. Welcome to a Chat with Heart podcast, Haley.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Are you drinking tequila?
It's water.
Cool. Me too.
Yes.
It's pretty much all I drink anymore.
Yeah, good for you. I have to say, I drink water, but I drink wine, lots of other things too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's normal. I think that's the majority of adults now.
You got it.
I was actually trying to think. I mean, we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to take us through our childhood, but I was trying to think today, had we ever experimented with alcohol when we were kids? I have one vague memory.
In Grand Falls, I think there was one time, the basement.
A basement of a friend? Okay.
I think it might have been your house, or we might have gone over to one of your friends' houses, if I recall.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
But never at your place, in Rothsay.
No, because we were too young then.
We were good girls.
We were. We were too young. We were happy about our horses.
We were. Well, okay. So tell my little heartbeat listeners what it is you do for work and what part of the world you're in right now, and then we'll fill them in on
all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I'm in Niagara Falls, Canada right now. That's where we live most of the time.
You and Joe.
Joe and I, yes. And we have a place also in Toronto, and our office. So Joe and I both work together, and he has his own business in the food industry. The easiest way to explain it is buying and selling ingredients in large quantities. So that's the easiest way to explain. Like
Bulk Barn?
No, but it would be...
I've just complicated it. I'm like...
No. Ingredients like gluten, dextrose, maltodextrin, stuff that actually goes into different products.
Okay.
Right? That we consume and eat.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I've been working with Joe now for about 2.5 years. For 15 years prior, I was in the HR world, working with several different corporations. But now working with Joe gives me, lots of flexibility and able to now that COVID is getting a little better, we're able to travel and do more,
more stuff out in the world together. Yeah, because you guys would you consider yourselves newlyweds still? I don't know why.
You know what? I guess this coming August, we'll be celebrating 5 years married.
That's
I don't
fresh.
know if we consider that. I guess you could. Yeah.
Yeah. It only gets better. So just.
Yeah, because how long have you and Dale been married now?
Well, this is my second marriage. But the first one was really good too. So
yes,
it didn't end because it was horrible or anything. It was really beautiful. And which people are probably like, what the hell happened? That's another episode.
Yep.
Nothing other than I think we were just too young. Yeah, Dale and I are now on our 11th year. And
Wow.
I think year 5, like around that time, was probably the harder period for us. Like, and maybe just more in my mind, and more I was probably going through a lot. And I know this is not the experience of everybody, but I've found that the pandemic is actually, well, we've both had time to kind of work on ourselves, but in turn, it's been a positive effect on our marriage, and we did not, drive each other to want to murder each other or anything.
Yeah.
And
Well, I would have to say I agree with that
that's good. Good to hear.
comment. I think Joe and I realized that we really do love each other. As we've
Okay.
been
Hey,
spending, yes,
I really
spending
like you.
every waking moment together, right?
It's either, so the pandemic's probably either made or broken some people.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
let's bring my little heartbeat listeners up to speed on how we met. So it was the late 80s, I think around 88. I
88 or
moved.
89.
Yeah. I know, and the reason I know this is only because I have some photos here to show you in a sec.
Oh my gosh.
But the back of them like it says like 1989 on some.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So there you go.
But it also grade 4. It was this. I moved to Rothsay from Fredericton, New Brunswick, because my father had seen this giant castle, like a mansion in a for sale, and wanted to move us to that house. And so we moved there. It was the summertime, and then I started grade 4. Rothsay is pretty small, still is small town, around 11,000 now. So I'm guessing it was like 6,000 back then or
Yep. You're
less.
probably right.
An attractive place to live, right? Lots of trees, beautiful homes. You didn't have to have necessarily a ton of money to live there, but I mean, we didn't. I'm not even sure how we ended up there, but I mean, a lot of people did have money.
Yes.
Beautiful properties and that we benefited from seeing or being around or invited into.
You're exactly right.
But I remember I had no friends moving there, and my first week of school, there were a couple things that stood out. I accidentally walked into the boys' bathroom, and somebody pulled me in the right direction. And then a lot of the kids asked me if I was a boy or a girl. There was a girl on the bus that didn't want me to sit with her, didn't let me sit with her, and was trying to rally everybody against me. So the positive memory I have is sitting on the swings, I think, on the Rothsay Elementary School playground. And I believe you came up to me and like invited me into your world. But I don't know, do you have a memory of us first meeting?
I feel like I was, yeah, either like I was on the playground, and I like my memory. I thought you would come up to me, if I recalled it.
Oh,
It might have been,
maybe
yeah,
maybe that was the case. Like,
yes, yeah.
like I remember you being very like bubbly and like friendly.
Yeah. But I think I remember you because I think you had seen me. This wasn't the first time you had seen me on the playground, I think. And you had asked me like immediate, like sort of what was wrong.
What's
And
wrong with you?
yeah, no, like, but because you thought it was like really cool. Like, I was like, okay.
What? What do you mean? I was like, so what the hell is wrong with me?
No. But you were always very honest, and like you've always
Oh my
been kind
God.
of like that. Yeah.
Yo,
But
what's your deal? Because it's
no.
cool.
We became, fast friends,
Well, obviously, I definitely needed friendship. And
Yeah.
I was lucky I found you for a number of reasons.
Well, we were lucky on both fronts.
I remember finding out, or you told me that you lived at the Rothsay Pony Club. For anybody who
Yes.
doesn't know what a pony club is, it's an organization for young people who are interested in riding or learning about and caring about horses. And your mom ran the place,
Yes.
and you had your own pony. And like, so you kept getting like these points, right? I was like, oh my God, she's like super cool. That was like the dream.
Well, yeah, because you liked horses. Yeah.
I did. I was big into the Pony Club series, a series of novels for young people.
Saddle Club, isn't that what they called it?
Oh, was it the Saddle Club? Maybe, yeah.
I think so. Saddle
Yeah.
Club. Yeah.
Um,
I also read those.
we probably traded off some. So, how did you end up at the at the Rothsay Pony Club.
So I was born in Toronto and lived in different parts. I spent a lot of time, my grandparents in Thornhill area, but my mom and I lived in Etobicoke, and we spent some time in Barrie. But either way, I was uh, spent most of my time with my grandparents. They were minding me while my mother was working.
Mm-hmm.
Well, has always had a great, a passion for horses
Yeah.
so from a very young age. So she started riding when she was 14. My grandparents had bought her first horse then. So her love of horses sort of continued from that point. And she was working at the time with my grandfather in his doctor's office as a receptionist, and she was not happy. So she found an ad in the paper of all things, I mean, way back in the 80s, for a pony club instructor in Rothsay, New Brunswick.
There was an
So
ad in the paper in Ontario for someone
yes.
that, wow.
Mm-hmm. Well, because, from, again, the coaching styles, I think even back then in New Brunswick versus Ontario always seems to have a little bit better from a coaching perspective for horses anyways.
Yep.
That's kind of how I think they were
The mentality.
Yeah. But I think they kind of put it out there in sort of everywhere because they wanted, to have, enough pool of applicants, I guess. So she flew down and had an interview, and anyway, she ended up getting the job. So we moved there I'm trying to remember, in the summer of 85, spring, right? But I remember I started grade 1. So yeah, that's how we ended up there. And I'd have to say it's probably one of the best memories I've had is in terms of living at the pony club and being kind of part of that whole world for that so many years. To have grown up in that environment was probably the best gift that, my mom could have given me, really.
I idolized your mom. She was a really great instructor. And if you could make Allie laugh, and she has an incredible laugh, right? Just infectious. And as do you. But you did not want to fuck with her. She was serious. She had standards that you wanted to uphold and you wanted to make her proud. She was a no bullshit kind of person. And I remember she was one of the first adults that I trusted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think because she treated us she talked to us like we weren't children. She didn't sugarcoat things.
Like you were a real person.
And she really pushed us all to just do better and do things we were terrified of, like practicing falling off of horses.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I mean, I can imagine too, I didn't live at the Pony Club, but I can imagine it being a really great place just because there's always young people around, but they're not all the same age. You've got older kids kind of looking after you, I imagine, and then young ones that are kind of looking up to you. I don't know.
That's right. No, and it was kind of the best of both worlds. I mean, I guess we did mention this, but I am an only child, so I found it so healthy to be around so many kids, and I never lacked not having a sibling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
For exactly that reason, I had older kids to look up to, and whom lots were my babysitters. And actually, you probably remember staying at my house on weekends. And
yes,
you were. So
yes, I do. I was actually gonna bring up the Allan Legere weekend.
Oh yes.
Do you remember?
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay, listeners, Allan Legere is a Canadian. This is his bio. Allan Legere is a Canadian rapist, arsonist, and serial killer. Can you imagine having that as your bio? Oh, and he's also known as the monster of the Miramichi, and reference to a reign of terror he inflicted upon residents of the Miramichi River Valley of New Brunswick in 1989. And this is not funny, but I just can't. It's just so absurd.
Yes, but it really was though.
So I was sleeping over at your house one night, and he had he had gotten like loose.
Escaped. Yep.
Yeah, gotten loose like an animal. Well, I mean, okay, now you got it, because I know memory can be reconstructive. So my memory of this night is that we were waiting. Our babysitter was on the way, probably just like working late in the barn or something. Allan Legere had escaped. We were aware of this. We were scared and kind of working ourselves up.
Yep.
And I believe we heard somebody coming up the stairs, but we were scared. We didn't clue in that, oh, this might be the babysitter. We thought it might be Allan Legere, so we went into like, we locked the door, but I think we went into, you had this German Shepherd.
Yeah, Jack. Yep.
Jack. Beautiful, smart
Yes.
dog. Oh my gosh. I think we went into his kennel or something.
I think we did. And covered ourselves up in there or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like we're going to hide. Allan Legere's not going to find us.
And remember then they were banging on the door to have us let them in, and we wouldn't let them in.
They're right. There were two of them. Yes, that's why we thought it was Allan Legere, because why would somebody be banging so aggressively? And I don't even think we let them in. I don't know how they got in, but they must have.
No, yeah, we did. They were, but then I think we went from there into the my bedroom, and I think they went outside and they were throwing snowballs at the window. You remember that?
Okay, don't. But now, I mean, you're painting the picture, and I'm like, okay, this makes sense.
So then we looked out the window and we saw that it was them, and then that's how we ended up letting them in. But it took about 20 minutes, and they were a little bit pissed off, to say the least.
Oh my God, what was wrong with us? What?
Well, that was our Allan Legere story.
Oh my God. So there's a guy in our area. I feel so bad for him, but he works sound at the Oxford Capitol Theatre near where we live. Sometimes we do shows there. His name is Allan Legere.
Oh, really?
And
I
know. Every time we do a show, I have to bring up the fact that he is not
the Allan Legere.
Yeah, he's not the monster of the Miramichi. He's actually the complete opposite.
Well, we understand why you would have to preface that, or at least I do. Not everyone may understand that, but
I'm definitely prolonging like the story of Allan Legere every time we do a show there. It's like I'm memorializing him. Anyway, this other Allan Legere guy is really great at sound. He's really nice.
Oh, perfect. Well, there you go. There's good that comes from Allan Legere's.
Yeah. Before we move on from Pony Club, because I love Pony Club, and I don't get to talk about it much, but I scoured my photos, and I don't have very many from the past, but I have 4 from the Pony Club days. Now, I don't know if you can you see this, and do you recognize that pony?
That is Whiskey.
Yeah, that's Whiskey.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that would have been at like RCS.
That was the Rossley show, probably, right?
Mm-hmm. You would have done that like what, every summer, every year?
Every summer, yeah. I had Big Red, you remember? And
yep.
then I remember the pony, her name was Candy. You remember Candy? I don't know if you remember her. She was like a liver chestnut color kind of.
Is this Candy?
No, that's Joker. I love it. Look, oh my God, you know how many memories this brings back? And then in the back there is where Trixie and Randy, where the little Shetlands would stay.
Yep.
In the behind there, yeah.
Yep. And then, do you remember this donkey?
Nora.
Nora.
Remember, Nora used to wake me up every morning with her hee-haw.
Yeah. Nora always looked pregnant.
Yes, she did.
And then, I don't actually have a memory of this horse, but I guess
yes, I do. Oh
yeah.
My goodness.
And then there's me ruining the photo.
No, you're so cute.
I don't know if cute is the best way to describe.
Who would have taken these pictures? Was your mom there with you? I can't remember.
Must have been my mom, or maybe my
she must have. Yeah.
And these are the photos that say 89 on the back. Yep. Honey too. So
you're right. We were in 1989. We were in grade 4.
Grade 4, amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found this, and I don't know if I've ever read it to you, but it's called "The Story of a Sweet Girl." This is so embarrassing. Called Christina Martin.
Yes.
And it says excitement, tragic, and good on the front. But I'll just read you the first page. I did read this in an earlier podcast episode because it's kind of hilarious, but it's also just super weird. Once upon a time, there was a gorgeous little girl named Christina. When I say gorgeous, I obviously had a sense of humor when writing this.
Stop.
No, I mean like
that was not how anybody would describe me. This girl loved horses very much, and one day wished to have one of her own. When she was 10 years old, she began riding at the pony club called the Rosse Pony Club, and she adored it. She made a very special friend called Haley, who had fun with Christina and never stopped being friends.
Well, love it.
Christina's life was perfect. This gets tragic though. This is so I go on to like basically explain how we moved, and then I was miserable.
Yeah.
And then in the end we won $10 million, and it says here her daddy could come home again, and it's that never happened.
Yeah, no, I know. There is quite a bit of tragedy to that story, I have to say.
Was that weird? Like, I don't know when. I mean, I don't remember a lot from. But I mean, I just remember I had to say goodbye to like some of my best friends, and I miss you like crazy.
So that would have been very difficult, obviously. So hence maybe writing that letter was, or that story was helpful for you. But I mean, when you think about it, it's kind of intuitive, and as young as you were, to kind of write that and articulate your feelings in that way, right? When you look back in that,
Yeah, well, I suppose my early days as wanting to be a writer, but I was going to ask if you had any recollection before I disappeared from Rase. Do you remember the romance series that I wrote in grade 6? And you may have helped me at times. That I had written this story and I would read it.
Yep, I do remember. I'm just trying to, yeah.
It was
you did go through that. Yeah.
It was racy. Like it
was. Oh, yeah.
And then we had a teacher in grade 6 who was a very conservative, lovely woman. I don't remember. Mrs. Chandler. Okay. And I don't know if she was very, well, she was probably just looking out for me. But at one point, the series was getting a little racy. She had me read it at noon, I think, like when everyone was eating their lunch. And I remember this specific episode where you and I think this kid Matthew maybe were in this relationship in the story, and
yes,
your hair was wrapped around his body, and then like she put an end to it, and then she took me out of the class and was like, this is not appropriate, and then I was so embarrassed because it got so many laughs and interest from people, like from our friends.
Yes.
And then I couldn't do it anymore, and then I felt so ashamed. And
do you remember? Well, you know what? When you bring me back, because I do remember that.
Yeah.
And I remember us reading it, and you loving it, and thought it was great.
Like it was so fun.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I got a lot too from like, I loved laughing with you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We had my recollection of our, childhood friendship is like just laughing like all the time. Like that's, and like in some times it was like uncontrollable, like not being able to stop. Yeah.
Peeing pants.
Like, yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. It's time for a Fluster break. I want to thank those of you listening who have purchased the game Fluster online at www.flustergame.com and used my promo code to save 15%. The promo code is Christina15. Yeah, I really hope you're enjoying the game with your friends at home, and I hope that you are enjoying these Fluster conversation breaks with my guests. You ready for Fluster, Haley?
Ready for Fluster. Oh, this is hilarious.
Okay. Who was your childhood hero?
Oh my goodness. Well,
in an era when we didn't have as much access to like all the things we have access to.
I don't know if you'd put her in the same category as hero, but because we were into horses so much, I really liked Beth Underhill and Monopoly. They were like my favorite rider horse pair. So I was really a big fan of hers for a long time. So I don't know if you would put her in the hero category, but that's sort of what comes to mind.
What was that guy's name? Ian
Miller.
Ian Miller would have been, I guess, at that time.
Big Ben, but he, like, I don't know. For me, I like Beth Underhill, right? It was, but Ian was probably better rider. Like they probably won more competitions, but I liked her horse, the Monopoly, as well. So yeah, I guess we could say, we put her in the hero category.
She right up there with Tina Turner.
There you go.
That was my hero at that time, probably.
Well, I mean, then I liked, growing up from a music perspective. See, again, you could go all over the place.
I know, yeah.
I would be, for me, like Bruce Springsteen, right? Because I grew up with him with my mother. So he could be seen as another hero of mine, I guess.
Oh, another thing, a reason you kept gaining these cool points with me. I remember you telling me something about your mom and Alana Miles growing up together, and I was a big Alana Miles fan at the time.
Yes, you were. That's right. Yes, they did. They rode horses together. Yeah.
Amazing. The equestrian world builds lasting friendships. Actually, I don't know if they're lasting. Are they still friends?
They've lost touch. Like, I've never heard of her. That would be too bad. It would be cool.
I bet they'd have a lot to talk about if they got together.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, here's another Fluster question.
Okay, bring it on.
Ooh, what's the most romantic thing you've ever done?
Ooh, what's romantic?
Are you a romantic?
Oh, yes, I am. I think I would have to make it relevant to
Joe,
my current my husband, but I think the first time he had taken me to Hawaii, and he had picked me up from the airport, and we went, it was where the timeshare is. It's about an hour drive, but he stopped at this, and it was pitch black. He stopped at this beach, and one of the beaches that he really likes, and we went in, and the water, the tide had come up so hot, like it was high, so it was. And we just stood there, and the moon was there. And it was just, because I had never been to Hawaii before, I just thought it was the coolest, most romantic thing. And, kissed me, under the moon. And it was just it was really special.
That is super romantic.
Yeah.
Oh, I would never be able to do that because I have a fear of sharks. All kinds of sea life that I would think would attack
come and get you. Okay.
Yeah. So have you ever had that experience in Hawaii where you've
Sharks.
almost been, sharks
No sharks.
Wow.
But I also don't go in very deep either. So it's,
I'll go. I love pools. I love warm pools.
Okay.
Maybe the Dead Sea would be, have you been to the Dead Sea? I've never.
No, I have not.
I think I could handle that because everything's dead. So what if I got, and you float, like it's like easy.
Yeah.
You had gone through so much from my perspective growing up, and you just seem like the toughest person in the world.
Yeah, I think what I've learned as we're getting younger.
Right. Good way of putting it. Yeah, nice.
Is that I think I realize the sort of my emotional stability, I guess, in the way I am versus how I see some of the other people in my life. And sometimes I wonder, like, it was almost like a gift I think I've been given. And, and perhaps part of that is because of, a big reason is because of everything I've been through. I think what doesn't break you down makes you stronger, right? So,
yeah.
And, I was brought up that way too, right? So, a lot of strength there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely one of the strongest people I know.
Well, thank you for that.
I do ask my guests a lot of the times if they feel comfortable sharing pivotal moments of their lives. And I'm sure you've had a lot, even near-death experiences.
Well, I've had sort of pivotal moments. I remember, from a few in my childhood, one having had my surgeries on my legs to help lengthen my Achilles tendons. So I had to have a cast on for anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, if I recall. Once I was released out of the hospital, I still was able to ride my horse with my cast on. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's pretty badass.
Yes.
Wow.
So that, I also think being able to be in, having grown up in Rothsay, but then spending my summers in Toronto and being able to like experience it, on there, and being able to go to Canada's Wonderland. Like, I thought that was always the coolest, most amazing thing when I was a kid. I also, you're going to your near-death experience, is I did have one of those when I was 10 years old, because I also had bad asthma starting from age 6, and I was in the hospital. I think it was 10 or 11, and I had gone into the emergency, and they told me that they would admit me right away, and then I couldn't breathe, and they were going to give me the aerosol mask when I got up to the floor, and they didn't come, and I almost literally felt like I was going to die there in that. And I remember that was near death.
Yeah. I think I knew you around that time.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
I remember.
And I was in the hospital a lot when we would, in that period that you would have known me, like in Rothsay. Yes.
I'm not laughing at the fact that you're in the hospital. No. I'm laughing because of a memory of us racing with wheelchairs in the hospital.
Oh, yes, you're right. You did come to see. I remember that.
Again, super cool, right? I don't know why I was like that. Racing wheelchairs was this is so much fun.
Yeah.
But hospitals are not a fun place typically. But being scared for you. My mom was a nurse.
Yes.
And so I always knew, I was like, okay, if Haley has an asthma attack, Mom, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to mix the meds or get the machine going. But it was just kind of not normal. It became this normal thing that you would have with you as a backup.
Well, I had to, right? It was, So those, I think, in going through that period of my life and being so unhealthy, I think was also pivotal. But the point in which that changed was also kind of neat too, because, I realized when I stopped riding horses that I had to then go to university. And that's kind of when I realized how allergic I really was to horses and dogs. And then from that point on, when I was away from all of that, I became very, very healthy.
Yeah, wow.
So literally for the last 23 years, I've been, knocked on wood here.
No more puffers?
Yeah, well, I still have it, but I have them. And sometimes if, there's lots of dust and if I'm around animals, I always bring my puffer. In the last 10 years, I'll say, I think my allergies are actually getting better. So I hope one day I can once we are really settled here in Niagara, for good, I might think about getting a dog, but we'll see.
Yes. A lot of options now.
For the hypoallergenics, options. Even though my allergist told me, she said, Haley, there's no such thing as a hypoallergenic dog because the allergy is in their saliva, apparently.
Right. Someone just told me that too. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I guess.
So.
But I don't know. I get itchy sometimes when I pet certain
Do
animals.
you? So maybe you have some sort of allergy as well then.
That being said, their saliva's on their fur. So that makes sense. Okay. It all goes down back to the saliva. So we need some saliva-free breeds.
Yes.
Basically, you just need to get a stuffed animal. I think.
I know. So in retrospect, that's probably why I was so sick all the time, is because I was actually allergic, but it was manifesting in colds and pneumonia and all those things.
Nobody was putting that stuff together, even dietary, allergies to what we're putting in our bodies.
No, you're right. It was a different time, sort of from a medical standpoint then versus now. Very different. And just in, the natural route as well that people go on now. And that, all of the different diets, health kicks, everything is so different now than it was back in the 80s.
What's on your bucket list now moving forward? How do you see the next 60 years of your life? Or do you not think about it? Are you like,
oh, absolutely. I really, really, hopefully in the next couple of years, get to go to the Kentucky Derby. So that's on my bucket list.
Nice.
We'll see if that happens, but I think it will eventually. I'm really looking forward to, getting out of Toronto and full time and being here in Niagara, because it's literally the best happy place here and we love it. And just kind of, living sort of a good, positive, happy life where, there's stresses with Joe and his exes, and I'm looking forward to that kind of going away eventually. And I know it will.
Yeah. So, it takes time.
It does. Trying to, just traveling and just being able to see friends and, and just, well, I look forward to that, and just enjoying life, because the most important thing is that we only live once. And I think we have to, I think COVID has taught us all so much in terms of, I think, how you reevaluate how we live and what we do and who we find important and who we don't. I think it's kind of taught us all a lot. So,
but I'm really grateful that I met you and spent all that time with you in Rothsay. Who knows? I could have turned to the streets and a life of crime and drugs had I not met you. But you were a strong role model back then for me. Oh. And you brought light into my life, and I don't think I was like the greatest friend. Sometimes I look back and I was like, I don't think I was very nice. Sometimes I think I was.
Sometimes you weren't always nice, but I think your heart was always in the right place. Yes. And a very fond memory I have is when we came back together again after many years, and I found out you had a concert. You were playing at that little place on Queen Street. What's the place called?
Is it the Cameron House?
Yes.
Or
what's the other name? I think
there's the Burdock.
I think it might have been the Burdock. It was one of the ones I went to for the very first time that I had seen you after all these years.
Yeah.
And I remember going into there, and you were on stage, and I think you were just finishing a song, and then you finished and you had said, like, I just have to bring to your attention, like, and you introduced me, and I just I felt so and you said exactly what you've made mention here today, is you've never laughed so much as you did with me. And I thought that was just the coolest thing. So I just wanted to thank you for that, because I just felt like I was a little shy, but I was just it was a nice introduction. And what I realized is what was cool is we hadn't changed really. And I think that also stands the test of true friends. Yeah. Even though we hadn't been in touch for that long, it was kind of went back, and it was how it had been, which was really cool.
It does always feel that way. I want to say, I think you were always a good person. I'm a better person. I could be a real asshole. I think when I was a kid, I really had some issues, and I didn't trust a lot of people.
No, but I think there's reasons for that. And
but you stuck with me, and yes. That's a testament to the person you are, because you could have been like, yeah, God, this person's a dork. So thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. I wouldn't have had it any other way, and I appreciate, I think our friendship is and has been always really cool, and we'll continue that way.
So cool. So one of the reasons I wanted to have you on here is just to celebrate this kind of friendship, and I know some of my good friends are going to be listening too, and they know how much they mean to me as well. And it's just nice to celebrate the people that you love, and
it is.
And try to.
It's important. I think we need to do more of that, actually.
Welcome to the Heartbeat Hotline, 1-902-669-4769. I'm the host of A Chat with Heart podcast, Christina Martin, and I'm so excited you called. Leave me your question, a suggestion for the podcast, or a comment about this episode. Please be aware your message may be used on the podcast and social media. Tell me your name, where you're calling from, and it's also fine if you want to remain anonymous. Thanks for listening. Have a great fucking day.
A Chat with Heart, produced and written by me, Christina Martin, co-produced and engineered by Dale Murray. Check out Dale's website, dalemurray.ca. The podcast theme song, Talk About It, was written by me,
and recorded by Dale Murray. You can find it on all the places you stream music. Production plans for this podcast and Season 1 are supported by the Province of Nova Scotia's Women in Business Implementation Fund and the Creative Industries Fund. Special thanks to Terrence Taylor for mentoring me on hosting this podcast and really digging deep with me on my production plans for Season 1, which, let's be honest, Terrence, ended up being more like well-needed psychotherapy for me. To Crystal Seeberger at Sensory Friendly Solutions, thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me learn how to be a more inclusive, accessible, and sensory-friendly human. Visit my Patreon page to become a monthly or yearly supporter of this podcast and my music endeavors. If you're new to Patreon, it's a membership platform that helps creators get paid. Sign up at patreon.com/Christina Martin. For this to be a massive success and reach 7 billion people, I need you to share, rate, leave a review, and subscribe to A Chat with Heart on all the places you listen to podcasts. Wishing you, my little heartbeats, a great day.